If you're looking at alternative certification, it's totally normal to feel excited and also a little overwhelmed. There are a lot of programs out there, and it can be hard to tell what you actually need to do in order to start. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through two things: how to choose a TEA-approved alternative certification program that fits you, and what the application to enrollment process usually looks like. By the end, you'll feel confident comparing programs, have a clear picture for the basic admission requirements, and know what your next steps are. All right, first step, how to choose the right program for you. Picking an alternative certification program matters because this is the program that supports your training, testing, your teaching internship, and the final steps to becoming fully certified. That's a big responsibility, and you deserve the right fit for you. So let's start with one thing you should check before anything else. Make sure the program is TEA approved. If it's not approved, it can't recommend you for certification in Texas, which means it can't get you to the finish line. So before you apply anywhere, double check that the program is on TEA's approved list. TEA has this information on their website, so you can verify programs and compare them. Once you've confirmed your program is TEA approved, the next step is figuring out which one actually fits you, because not every program is going to feel the same once you're inside. Once you've narrowed down your list to TEA approved programs only, the next question is, which one actually works for your life? When you're comparing ACPs, here are 6 key questions that can help you choose a program that fits what you need. First, does the program offer the certification area, that's the subject and grade level, you want to teach? For example, if you want to teach elementary grades, you'll want a program that offers the certification called Core Subjects EC through 6. If you want to teach high school English, they need to offer the certification of English Language Arts and Reading 7 through 12. And if you're not sure what certification area matches what you want to teach, don't guess. You can reach out to our 240 Certification Admissions Advisors at 240certification.com, and they can help you figure out what certification area you need. Second, what's the format? Is it online, in person, or hybrid? This matters because your schedule, your learning style, and how much time you actually have each week will affect what you can realistically keep up with. Third, how is the learning structured? Is it self-paced, meaning you work on your own schedule? Or is it scheduled, where you need to show up to live sessions or meetings? This affects how quickly you can move. Self-paced courses can let you go faster when you have the time, while scheduled sessions follow a set pace and meeting times. Fourth, what kind of support will you have? And how easy is it to actually reach someone? Pay attention to whether you'll have a real person who knows your situation or if you'll be sent to a general support line every time. And look for clear details, like can you reach them by phone or email or text? And what is the typical response time? That kind of support makes a big difference in how confident you feel and how quickly you can move, especially when deadlines or hiring timelines come up. For example, at 240 Certification, you can talk to your admissions advisor while you're applying. And once you're enrolled, you'll be paired with a personal program advisor who stays with you through the program. So you will always have your person who knows your exact situation. Fifth, what does test prep look like? And will it cost extra? Every program is required to have a test approval process, which means you'll need to complete certain steps before you can register for your content exam. Your content exam is one of the biggest milestones, and passing it keeps you moving towards your statement of eligibility, or SOE, and getting hired. What does it cost? And how do payments work? Look for a clear breakdown of the total cost and your payment options, like monthly plans or upfront pricing. And ask about common extra fees too, like testing fees, certification application fees, and background check costs. Knowing the full cost ahead of time helps you plan, avoid surprises, and choose a program you can stick with all the way to certification. Okay, once you've used those questions and feel confident about the program you want, the next thing you'll probably ask is, cool, so how do I actually get started? Let's break it down for you so you know exactly what to expect. Most programs follow the same basic admission steps. Here's the usual flow to expect when you're ready to take the next step in becoming a teacher. First, you'll apply to the program. Next, you'll send in your official transcripts. Then, if the program has a few more things for you to do besides transcripts, finish those steps. If you're accepted into the program, you're sent an invitation. Then, you'll accept that invitation and officially enroll. Now that's the general idea. But next, I want to break down each step in more detail so you have a good idea about what you'll see no matter which program you choose. Every TEA-approved alternative certification program has the following minimum state admission requirements. Programs can add their own standards, but they can't skip the basics. Here are the main requirements you'll see in every program. First up, you'll need a bachelor degree from an accredited college or university. Accredited just means your school is officially recognized and meets national quality standards. The good news is most public universities and a lot of well-known colleges are accredited. And if you're thinking, wait, I'm not done with my degree yet, you're not out of luck. If you are in your final semester, you may be eligible to start through contingency admission. A contingency invitation can let you begin parts of an ACP before your degree is officially finished, as long as you graduate by the end of that semester. Second, you'll also need a 2.5 GPA, either overall or in your last 60 credit hours. Not sure if you have a 2.5 GPA? Don't stress, we'll cover that here in a moment, so let's pin that thought. Finally, you'll need to show you know your subject well enough to teach it. You usually show that through your college coursework in that subject area. In Texas, the minimum requirement is 12 credit hours in the subject area you want to teach, or 15 credit hours for math or science at or above grade 7. For example, if you want to teach social studies 4 through 8, you would need 12 credit hours of social studies coursework on your college transcripts. Just keep in mind, those are minimums. Some programs may ask for more coursework depending on the certification area or their own admission standards. Now, if you're listening to those requirements and thinking, okay, but what if my GPA isn't quite a 2.5? Or what if I don't have enough coursework in the subject I want to teach? Let's talk about your options. If you don't meet the GPA requirement or the subject area hour requirement, your ACP may ask you to take a pre-admission content test, or PACT, to qualify for admission. PACT is an admissions exam, not your content exam. PACT is used to help you qualify for an ACP when your transcripts don't meet the GPA or credit hour requirement. Your Texas content exam is the certification test for your subject and grade level you want to teach. So they're serving two different purposes: admission versus certification. Taking and passing the PACT exam for your subject and grade level is another way to prove your content knowledge if your transcripts don't show enough. One important thing to know, using PACT instead of GPA or coursework is not guaranteed. Programs decide whether to use it and how they accept it, which brings us to something you'll see a lot as you compare programs. Some programs go beyond the minimum admission requirements set by TEA, and this isn't always a bad thing. TEA sets the minimum admission requirements, but programs can add their own admission steps too. And if you see extra steps, don't automatically assume it's a red flag. In many cases, a program that asks for a little more upfront is focused on your preparation, helping you start strong, stay confident, and succeed long-term, and not just quick admission. Some examples of extra admission requirements could be a higher GPA standard, higher standards for subject hour coursework, an interview, a writing sample, references, or extra coursework requirements. If we can leave you with this one piece of advice, it's this: don't pick a program just because it feels like the easiest route. We know that can be tempting, but you're not just trying to start, you're trying to finish strong. Choose the program that makes you feel prepared, supported, and ready for the classroom. Okay, so you've applied, sent in your transcripts, and the program reviewed everything. Once you're accepted, the next step is the one that really gets things moving: officially enrolling. If you're accepted, they'll send you an invitation to join. Once you have that invitation in hand, You're one step away from starting your journey to becoming a teacher, but that journey cannot officially start until you are officially enrolled. You'll need to say yes to that invitation in writing. This is typically in the form of clicking an acceptance button, signing a form or two, and setting up payments. Enrollment matters for two big reasons. First, enrolling is a real commitment. Once you enroll, you and the program are choosing to work together to get you certified. And that partnership matters. Switching programs later can be slow and stressful, so it's worth taking this step seriously and choosing a program that fits you. You're building a path to your classroom here, and you want a path you can stick with. Second, enrolling unlocks the next steps. This is when things really get moving. I know you might be eager to jump straight into testing or job hunting, but enrolling is what lets you actually start. Once you're officially enrolled, you can start coursework and begin working towards test approval, which you need before you can sign up for your content exam. Now, even when you know the basics, there are still a few questions that come up all the time. So let's walk through some of the most common ones. Question 1, can I transfer from another program? Transfers are possible, but they're not automatic. You'll still need to apply to the new program, meet their admission requirements, and be accepted. Here's what transferring usually looks like. First, you'll complete the new program's application steps. Then, when prompted, you'll submit transfer documentation from your previous program. This is called the TEA Candidate Transfer Form, and it'll have sections for both you to complete and sections for your previous program to complete. Then you'll wait for confirmation from the new program that your transfer work has been received and accepted. Question 2, what if my degree is from outside the US? If your bachelor degree is from outside the US, you'll need a course-by-course credential evaluation from an approved service instead of sending regular transcripts. A course-by-course evaluation is a report that translates your international college record into a US format. It shows your courses, how they compare, and your US GPA equivalent. It also confirms your degree and the date it's rewarded. Your program will use this evaluation to verify your degree and review your coursework for the certification area you are applying for. All right, that's the application and enrollment process in a nutshell. If you have a question we didn't cover, or you want help figuring out your certification area or next step, click the link below or email us at admin@240certification.com and we'll talk it through with you. Next up is your next big milestone, your Statement of Eligibility, also known as your SOE. I'll walk you through what an SOE is, why it matters, and exactly what you need to complete to earn it.